This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey guys, how's it going? First, we want to say, before we celebrate this incredible victory, we want to say thank you because this episode is sponsored by Tomorrow's Retro. Tomorrow's Retro is made by diehard fans, giving you all the Texans gear, pride you deserve, a retro look with tomorrow's superstars. Get the best looking merch for your Houston Texans. Use the code TFB10 for 10% off store-wide at Tomorrow's Retro at my Shopify. So, I'm going to bring Crenshaw in a minute. My computer is a little frozen, so you're going to have to give it a second. But we're going to talk about this amazing victory by C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud has now become one of the best rookie quarterbacks that we've ever seen in the NFL. He's broken record after record. We're going to go through this, and we're going to talk about it a little more. But before we even go through the plays and stuff like that, I got to ask you, Shaw, what are you thinking about C.J. Stroud?
Man, I just think, like, I'm glad that we witnessed this, if I'm saying the word right. I'm glad that he's on our team. Just an amazing game. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the game was over, man. And the poise he showed, 46 seconds, I love this guy. Pause. I really do. I mean, I'm
no reason to pause on that. We all love him at this point.
Okay, I'm so excited. Like, I really could talk real big shit to people right now about having a top 5 quarterback. Like, no cap. I could talk real big shit right now. So I feel real good, bro. Real good, man. Let's break this game down.
Yeah, let's break this game down. So the first thing about it is that, all right, C.J. Stroud, he has now thrown 470 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's more than any other rookie quarterback has ever done. There's no more, if this or only one interception. Like, this is literally one of the best rookie performances that we've seen ever. So let's start in the first quarter, though. The first quarter didn't look too hot. What were you thinking in the first quarter?
Man, look, the first quarter was looking like the Panthers game. I was like, damn, man, they trying to establish a run. CJ overthrowing guys. I'm like, damn, what's going on with the timing, man? Like, what's wrong? I mean, he missed guys here, he missed guys there. So I was very concerned. I was telling the guy inside of me, I said, man, I don't know if this is the time for the rookie wall to set in. Because I thought he was really hitting his rookie wall. I say, well, I'm glad it's in the middle of the season, and then in the fourth quarter of the season, he'll pick it back up. But then he came out in the second half. I'm like, is this the same damn team? Because the second half, it was completely different from the first half. So whatever they did, I don't know if they went and got some of that juice that Michael Jordan had on Space Jam or what. Whatever the fuck they did, keep doing that shit.
Yeah, so it really did not start well, right? CJ missed an easy throw of the tank. He was wide the hell open. Not a throw that you really want anyone to miss. That's how easy it was. Then you had Dalton Schultz fumble. And, after these two simple things that should never happen, I didn't know how things were going to go. Then you had defense come out. You had Will Anderson make a play. I'm talking before the sack here. You had Cashman helping him out, and they forced a punt. That was really good. And then what I was surprised is that he went right back to Dalton Schultz for that first down. And this is after the fumble. So this tells you there's trust that C.J. Stroud has in his receivers, and I'm including Dalton Schultz in this. Okay, so that tells you, like, even though that Dalton Schultz had that fumble, he knew that he was going to be big. In the press conference, he said he actually talked to Dalton Schultz before the game and said, "You're going to be big in this one, right? Like you're going to have to make a play." So I think that he's building trust between him, Tank Dell, even Nico Collins, who didn't have the best game today, not because really a lack of him, it just wasn't not necessarily targeted as much. Um, but he is building a rapport now with these dudes, and we'll talk about some of the things that are going on, like whether we should extend certain players and stuff. But what do you think? Where do you think his connections are being built?
Well, it starts with the tight end because that's his safety blanket, and we know once we sign Dalton, we're like, okay, he's going to be a rookie's best friend. And it seemed like he's always open. He just CJ looks down the field first, and then he say, okay, I'm gonna give it to you, Dalton, like that. And I'm glad he went right back to him as well. I mean, I like the targets he got this game. I think Dalton should get between 8 to 10 targets a game because he's that good. Um, I like how since the defense took away Nico, okay, Noah Brown, you're gonna eat. Tank Dell, you're gonna eat. He spread the ball all the way around the field so to make us one dimensional, make the guys think, and make defense, okay, let's back up a little bit. But our run game still wasn't good because I thought the pass was gonna open up the run. So it just tell you that our fucking run is just sucks. Those guys can't do shit on that right there. But all in all, man, I like what they doing. I just can't wait until we have the money next year to actually put some real guys around this guy and don't waste him like what the Chargers are doing with Justin Herbert right now.
Well, I mean, not to get off into other teams, but really the issue with Herbert is not the lack of weapons; it's just coaching. Brendan Staley is just an idiot. But so let me just talk about targets because you mentioned it. Schultz and Tank had the same amount of targets, 11 targets. So Tank Dell dropped the catch. Stroud missed him a few times. But the thing about it is Dalton, 11 targets, 10 catches, 1 touchdown. But here's the most important figure, in my opinion: 7 first downs. He had more first downs than anyone else on the team. Right. The next closest was Noah Brown with 4. Tank Dell with 5 first downs, and then Noah Brown with 4. So I think that the safety blanket of Robert Woods has now shifted to Dalton Schultz, and I think that's a very positive thing because I do think that Dalton Schultz will be here more long term than Robert Woods. So I agree with you that he should be more targeted, but he was targeted 11 times. This is pretty much where I think you should be. I mean, tight ends are typically a good tight end is top targeted anywhere between 7 to 10 times. I mean, you're surpassing that already, right? Nico Collins was targeted 5 times. He had 3 catches. He had a touchdown, and he had 3 first downs. One thing I want to say about the Nico touchdown, it was it was on a slant. But if you look at the set that they used a run heavy set. So I understand a lot of people are saying, look, they made him pass more, and that was it. Of course, passing more is going to get you more yards. Of course, passing works when your quarterback is connecting. But one of the reasons why you still have to run the ball is because they came out in a run heavy set. And so they looked like they were going to run, and then they threw Nico out there, and that's what freed him up in order for him to catch the ball. So, we have to be able to run the ball, but it looks like obviously right now we can't. And before we get negative, there's still a lot more positive stuff to go on. So let's just talk about the defensive side for a moment. Khalil Davis, 4 tackles, 2 solo, 1 sack, 1 pass deflection. This is after Sheldon Rankins was out. This is also after we lost Hassan Ridgeway. What do you think about Khalil Davis?
I thought he had a good game. He was showing you because then we cut him right in the before the season started, right? We cut him.
I don't honestly remember if we cut him and brought him back the way that we did it.
I think
we may have cut him, put him on the practice squad, and brought him back for just logistical reasons. But I don't think that was not because they do that a lot, right? Like you've seen how many times they will cut one guy just to bring him back for either a cap perspective or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love his game today. He played out of his mind, showing that I need more reps. But the whole defensive line in the whole, I'm not happy with because this game should have came down to that Tank Dell game when it touchdown. We should have ended it on 4th down. So that 4th down, the Panthers fourth down, the Falcons fourth down, the defensive line, they got to get there. They got to get home, and that's something that D'Amico has to get better at throughout the weeks. But I get it. We don't have the guys to do that, so we got to take what we can get.
So do you think it's only that we don't have the guys? Because I think that we actually have a lot of the personnel on defense. Now, of course, a lot of them are hurt here and there, so that's an issue. But I don't know if it's necessary that we don't have the guys. For I think that D'Amico hasn't necessarily figured out how to use all of the guys perfectly, because we do have some ballers, right? We have dudes making plays: Khalil Davis, Blake Cashman, Tavir Thomas, Jalen Petrie, Denzel Perryman. I mean, these are dudes are making plays. Jonathan Gennard. So we have dudes that are making plays, but we have issues at certain times because we're giving up too many yards. And I understand right now both of our corners aren't doing well. I know that you're a Steven Nelson fan, but both of our corners haven't done necessarily the greatest in the past couple games. So perhaps he can't run man, but the issue is giving up all these underneath stuff is really making these games far too close. Do you think that our corners, both Steven Nelson and Shaq, would perform better in man than in zone? Because right now they're giving up pretty much everything.
Well, I mean, his name not Nelson Allen for nothing. So yes, of course, I think he'll perform better in man. But I mean, going against Mike Evans, it's a tough matchup. You notice Baker, he was just throwing the damn ball up and hey, go make a play. So that's how that was. I think he pretty much had good coverage on him. He just threw the ball up and he made a play on everybody that helped him today. But I do think it's like next game, you're going against Jamar Chase and you're going against T. Higgins. I don't know if you want to go man on those guys, so you might got to stick with the zone for at least one more week until we play the Cardinals.
Okay. All right. Another thing I wanted to bring up was being a goldfish. This is something that C.G. Stroud has talked about. This is something that other quarterbacks have talked about. And the whole point is that there was a mistake or there's something that didn't go right. You're a goldfish, meaning that you forget about it. And so you can go back out there and do your job. And I think he had to do that multiple times, whether that's missing Tank Dell, whether that's Dalton Schultz fumbling, whether that's not being able to do the right job on the first drive. The very first play was a passing play, right? Because I know a lot of individuals saying, you shouldn't just run on the very first play or on first downs. He was actually, Bobby Sloak was actually calling a decent amount of passing plays on a first down. That very first play.
First three plays.
I'm sorry?
Passed. I said the first 3 plays was passed. Yeah.
Correct. And so I think that, not being able to hit Tank Dell could have honestly driven a person without that type of mentality in a downward spiral, especially after the Dalton fumble, and he was able to come back. So I want to ask you, how do you think his maturity is helping him win games? Because me personally, I think his attitude, his personality is a huge deal of why we've been successful.
Yeah, man. First of all, he loves the Lord. He brings up the Lord every time he speaks, and I think that's a great thing. I haven't seen him with a female, haven't heard a scandal about him, so his head's always in the books, and that right there shows me what kind of leader he wants to be. Now, maybe in the off season, that's when you're gonna see more of that, but during the season, his head's on a swivel, and I like that. How just kind of like, okay, that one game against, I think the Steelers, the Saints. We threw the interception, we got the fumble, got right back, boom, scored a touchdown. Everything, he just forgets about it. He gets better and better each game, and it's like, damn, okay, can he get even better? I'm like, he can get even better. And this game showed us today that this guy is going to play in this league for a long time. It's not a fluke. A lot of guys as rookies have flukes, and then they go back to, he ain't all that. This guy has Hall of Fame potential in him in 8 games. I might be ahead of myself saying that, but that's what I really, really think. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. I love it.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. And again, I do like talking about this goldfish mentality because, like I said, you can get stuck in a rut. And I think one of the throws to Nico was a little bit high. Actually, me and Matt were talking about this on text. And of course, for everyone that doesn't know, Matt is taking care of his daughter. Otherwise, he would be here. So wish him and his family and his daughter well. So One of the things that me and Matt were talking about was the throw to Nico. I thought it was too high, and the debate was, well, it hit his hands, he should have caught it. And I could agree with that. But again, I think that in that first half, he just wasn't his accurate self, like throws that he could have made. And that is what I like to see, which is that he made the mistakes and said, I don't give a fuck. I'm still the guy. I am still that dude. Bobby, give me the ball. Put the game in my hands. I can do it. And he did. One of the things I do have to address, though, is in the second half, we kind of just let 20 seconds fly off the clock. And I want to ask you, because you were there, was Kaime in the tent at that point? Did we just let that go off the clock? Is because we realized we didn't have a kicker at that point? Because you had 20 seconds. We could have easily made a field goal before the half. We knew that they had the ball coming back from half. So why do you think they just let 20 seconds go without calling a timeout and just let it slide in? And it went to 0-0. So we're like, all right, guess we'll go into the locker room. Like, what was going on there?
Well, from what I've seen from my seat, when we scored the touchdown and then he kicked off, that's when he started grabbing his leg. So I think he pulled his hammy then, and he was trying to see could he still play with it, but he couldn't. So that's the reason why they did what they did going to the half, not even attempting a field goal. So that's what that was. So hopefully, they get to, maybe they get to ask him and he could officially tell us when did it happen. But from what I seen, when he kicked off, he grabbed his leg and he went right to Meats. Like Meats, like, hey, you okay? He gave him a dab and he started grabbing his leg like that. But I didn't think it was nothing. I thought maybe he's like, oh, okay, a little tweak here and there. But apparently he's really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, in this game we did get riddled with injuries. If you, for those that can't see this thing on screen, I'll read it for you. We had MJ Stewart got hurt. We had Hassan Ridgway. We had Jack Hansen got hurt. Kaime Fairbairn got hurt. We just got injuries all around this entire game. John Mechie got hurt again. Jimmy Ward got hurt with the hamstring. So we had a lot of dudes get hurt. We didn't have a kicker. Let's talk about it for a moment. Dare, who everyone said shouldn't be on this team, saved her ass kicking on kicks, gave us a 29-yard field goal. This is freaking insane. We won a game where that even though we were supposed to be favored in, I get it, but we won a game without a kicker and 6 dudes that had to go off the field because of injuries. How insane is this?
Man, this whole season been insane. The Beck touchdown usually don't happen from a fullback. Today, CJ broke the rookie record. Dare, running back, kicking a field goal. It's freaking insane. Now, if he wasn't on the team, who'd have kicked that motherfucker?
I don't know. I mean, you have to kick it somehow. I don't know who would have done it. I think they would have just as who's the best. And I mean, I don't know what would have happened, to tell you the truth. I mean, that brings a good question. Like, they obviously don't. They only want really Cam to basically, kick punts. So either we obviously
field goals though. Why Cam can't at least kick a field a 30?
So it's not that. So accuracy is obviously he's accurate in like where he does, but like there's two things there. It's different the way you use your leg, and you can hurt yourself, right? And he's too important. So he had what? How many punts? 5 punts? No, it wasn't 5. 4 punts, right? So he had 4 punts, and he averaged 60 yards a punt. So I mean, he was doing his job, right? Like, and you can't just take a guy that does, like, some dudes can do dual duty. He can't. He didn't grow up in the United States. He's an Australian guy. He's not used to playing American football. This is not his thing. He does this one thing very, very well. He's elite at that one thing. Now to ask that question though, are they going to have to pick up a kicker? Are they going to have to, and then what about roster spots? Because, that obviously eats into roster spots. So, is Kaime coming back? Do they need a backup kicker? That's going to be interesting because we're going to have to figure out with these injuries that are coming up. We don't know what's going to happen. Like MJ Stewart, he's going to have to get imaged. He could be out for the season. And MJ Stewart is Eric Murray's backup, and he's out on IR. So, and Jimmy Ward, is the main dude, right? So you have Jimmy Ward, who's hurt, Eric Murray, who's hurt, and so basically you have three safeties hurt. So we are going to come down again to another issue of injuries, and this is what it's going to come down to, trying to fix things. And I understand some people wanted to add more people at the trade deadline, but this is why you need cash. This is why you don't spend all your money, because we may have to spend some money to fulfill some of these positions. Um, I want to just talk about all the receivers just really quick for a moment, because I just want to give a shout out to everyone who actually participated in the receiving game, because I did not give Noah Brown this credit. Noah Brown had 153 yards. He had 6 targets, 6 catches, caught every single one of them. 1 touchdown, 4 first downs, and that amazing 75-yarder, right? Dalton Schultz, 130 yards, 11 targets, 10 catches. Tank Dell, 114 yards. 3 dudes got over 100 yards today. That's insane. 5 targets, 3 catches, 1 touchdown, 3 first downs. John Mechie had 1 target, 1 catch. Andrew Beck had 2 catches for 5 yards. Devin Singletary got in there with the passing game, but really didn't do anything. There's a lot of talk about, do we actually need a real wide receiver one? And I know that Robert Woods wasn't even in today. So, do you think that's still a priority after seeing what he can do today?
Yes, we still need a wide receiver one. We still need one, because every game's not going to be like this right here. So we need a go-to guy where teams gonna be like, okay, we got to take away this guy like that. I still think Nico Collins is just a slot receiver. I don't think he's an X receiver. So we definitely need a wide receiver one. Either, well, it can't be free agency because there's no good ones out unless you want to go to Mike Evans route, but he's an older guy. So we definitely need to get one in the first 2 rounds, like ASAP.
Brian was saying how many people were screaming with that last TD. I could not even sit down anymore in the last minute of the game. I was literally pacing around completely. Could not even sit down.
Brian, I'm gonna tell you something. I can't think of what year it was, but it reminded me of when Andre Johnson had to walk off in overtime against the Jaguars when we made that big comeback. And that's how loud the crowd was. Everybody was jumping, hugging, high-fiving. It was that loud up there, man. That was a great win, man, because I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't think we had a chance. I didn't think we had a chance at all, man, because I'm like, okay, they're going to get to him, sack him, blah, blah, blah. But damn, he fooled the fuck out of me.
So Stroud on the year now has thrown for a total of 279 attempts, completed 173. That's 62% completion rate, 2,270 yards. Obviously, that is way over pace of 4,000 yards. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 rushing TD, with the passer rating of 102.9. I agree that even with everything we're looking at, in terms of the yards, the receivers, that we might need a receiver. The question is where, and this is not a draft video, so we're not going to talk about it too much, but I agree that we're going to have to replace Robert Woods, I think, at some point. I mean, I do think, just from an age perspective, was going to be likely anyway. Do we do that with the high draft pick? That I don't know. That I disagree. I think defensive tackle is a big issue. One thing I'm going to talk about, and I said before, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why we just can't do that in the free agency? The defensive tackles, the linebackers, the cornerbacks, and get that wide receiver in the first or 2 picks.
Well, I mean, first of all, we have Cleveland's, and I don't know where Cleveland's going to be, and so I'm expecting Cleveland to be in the 15th. I could
get a good guy.
I don't know. I don't know, because I think Keon Coleman and Wilson are going to be top 15, and we might just be out of that. And so we will have to trade up, which means giving, another prime pick, like a second or something, to move up. So, and by free agency, I think that, we can sell probably one of those defensive tackles. The thing about it is we actually need 2 defensive tackles. You need one dude that is going to be a speedy guy that can get sacks in addition to our edges, and you need one, that motherfucker, that's like 320 plus pounds. You need both. I like I like speedier DTs because obviously they can get stuff done, but you need someone to eat up blocks. So you need two DTs there. And we saw that what they actually did is they had Will Anderson doing a lot of dirty work. Will Anderson at 270 pounds is doing the work of a DT as opposed to doing the work of an edge because we don't have a DT that can do it. So that's part of the problem there. Someone in the comments, let me see if I can find it again, talked about Dari because he was playing football. Yeah, Dari, he actually played football, soccer, and basketball, both in high school and then later in college. So he's actually well versed in multiple sports, which is freaking amazing. Something else that's interesting, and this is where I want to talk about Titus for just a moment. George Fant recovered a fumble. George Fant did not give up a sack. George Fant was pretty damn good in pass protection. Now the entire line is bad at run blocking. I'll have to watch the all 22 to see how much of the run blocking was his fault. In previous games, he's been basically just about average, not terrible, not awful, but not fantastic. At this point, what does Titus provide for this team other than an $18.5 million salary at left guard or cap hit at left guard where he's okay at pass protection and downright terrible? And he actually gave up a sack. So you can say not even great at pass protection left guard. So he gave up a sack and he's not great at run blocking. What are you thinking about Titus Howard?
See with Titus, man, it's so tricky because since we drafted this guy, he's been playing ring around the rosy on the offensive line. We drafted him to be a left tackle, but then that same offseason we traded for Laramie Tunsil. Then we throw this guy on the right side. Now I know he said wherever they want to put me at, I can play, but we know, to me, his primary position is left tackle. He's not a left guard. He's not good at right tackle. I think he's a left tackle. So right now, I don't know what the dead money would be to trade him. So either he got to figure it out, or hopefully somebody that needs a left tackle could get us at least maybe a high third for him. I don't know if he can get a second, but at least a high third. But right now, he sucks. He spent more time on Twitter than actually watching film and seeing where he needs to work out at. Because right now, I don't understand how you're going to tweet out and say, hey, y'all, I'm going to be better next week. We're going to be better next week. And you was worse. So, Titus, if you're listening, bro, get it together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to address that in just 1 second, but I just want to tell Frank, how did you do? Dieter did damn good. He did have one penalty, but frankly, him not playing center in forever and him only having one penalty is fantastic, honestly. He did a great job in pass protection. So shout out to Dieter. Yes, shout out to Michael Dieter for playing center so well. Now about Titus, I understand that he's supposed to be a left tackle. And we could trade him, and we'll have probably, I think it was a $12 or $13 million dead cap hit, but do it. I think you get that if you can get you can get a second round pick. You have your right tackle now that's doable. Right now we're spending more money than any other team in the NFL on the O-line, and we are literally mid. And the only reason why we're mid is because we're good on pass protection. Large reason is Laramie Tunsil. But we're so bad in run blocking that if you looked at just the run blocking, we're literally one of the worst in the league. So I don't think it makes – I mean, if they're going to try to keep Titus at left guard, I don't think it's worth it to keep him here. From a monetary standpoint, there's no reason why he should be paid that. If you're paid that at left guard, it's because you're an amazing run blocker. So since he's not, I see no reason for him to be here. What I do see, though, is that there's – Dalton Schultz, we should extend. He's playing his ass off. There's no reason not to extend him. Blake Cashman, we definitely need to extend Blake Cashman. He's our best linebacker on our squad and probably one of the best linebackers in the AFC South. Not the best, but one of the best. And so those two dudes.
But let me ask you a question about the offensive line. Do you think that we paid Titus and Shaq Mason too early?
Absolutely. I definitely said that we should not have extended Shaq Mason so early without even seeing a snap. I think that honestly actually forced us to extend Titus because we could have waited. We could have waited mid-season in order to extend him, and then we could have made a decision. I think we forced our hand by extending Shaq Mason, and essentially that made us extend Titus because how are you not going to extend the guy that you drafted and then extend a dude that you traded a 6th round pick for?
Exactly. So by the fans, the majority of the fans didn't want to pay Titus. Like they just wait. I guess we was right on that one right there because the guy has been horrible. Man, good Lord, has been horrible. All right, next topic.
All right. So after that, one of the things I want to talk about is all right. We talked about Cashman, Henry Toa. So Henry Toa has made good plays, but then he's also not the best in coverage, right? He couldn't stop that tight end. If he would stop that tight end, it wouldn't have been such a rush in order to get another tackle. Now he's a rookie. He's making rookie mistakes. But the question there I have to ask you is, do you think that's a D'Amico issue or do you think that's a Henry To'oTo'o issue? Because D'Amico decided to put a linebacker on a tight end that you've already seen throughout this game make decently big plays. Where would you put that blame, Henry, To'oTo'o, or D'Amico?
I gotta say Henry because all season Henry's been a roller coaster, up down, up down, up down. People look at the tackles like, see, look at that man. He's 5th round pick, right?
Yeah, he's a 5th round pick.
5th round pick, man. He's balling out. Look at all the tackles he has. Just because he got a lot of tackles don't mean he's playing good. I mean, we seen it with Zach Cunningham. So I blame that on Henry. You know, first of all, I don't think he's supposed to be playing this much this early anyway. But you know, here we are. Um, I don't think I think D'Amico really want to get his own. I don't really think these are the guys that he really want for his scheme. What about you? Do you think these guys actually fit the scheme he really want to run?
I think Henry Toa can be developed there. I don't think he's going to be a Fred Warner. I don't. I mean, I think there's really only one of those. So if you're looking for a Fred Warner at Mike, you're going to have to look for years because that's just not something that happens often. So I do think that Henry Toa can fit. He's a rookie though, and he's going to get better. Mind you, Fred Warner took a little bit too. Really wasn't until Fred Warner's 3rd year that he actually balled out, right? So this is his rookie year. What I will say also is like you've got dudes like I'll go back to Blake Cashman, 6th round pick, had 3 stuffs, 10 tackles, 5 solo. The dude was making plays. The dude actually stopped Baker Mayfield from getting that rush TD in too. He's not just getting tackles like for the stat sheet. He's making impactful tackles. He's making tackles that stop the run game. He's stopping a quarterback from getting in the end zone. That dude, he's definitely part of the scheme. Tavir Thomas, he had a pretty good game. He even got a forced fumble. Henry Toa tried to force it out to get a fumble so we can get a takeaway there. It's I think you have some issues. Honestly, it comes back to our 2 main corners at this point. Shaq Griffin, who I praised, has not played well in the past 2 games. This game, last game, and Steven Nelson hasn't played well in this game, that game. You have now an injury with Jimmy Ward, and you have Petrie and Ward that have been injured and haven't been there. And I mean, injuries really have screwed it up, but I think that our corners aren't who they need to be in order to be able to, like, there's no such thing as a lockdown at this point. Although you did say that perhaps putting them in man would be better, right? So that is another concern. So, I mean, like, in terms of going forward, like, this is the question, and I don't mean to end this abruptly, but it feeds into this. Do you think that we're a playoff team?
No, we're not a playoff team, but we could beat on any given Sunday a potential playoff team. But I don't think we are a playoff team because to be the playoff, to me, start with the division. But I think the Jaguars is too far ahead of us. Well, they 2.5 on us, but I don't think we're gonna catch that last wild card spot because now you got Denver winning, you got the Bengals are back. You got fucking Cleveland still winning. The Raiders just won. I don't think we're going to pass those guys to get their last wild card spot. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because we was projected to either win one game or no games this year. We had 4, and we really should be at 6. But that's a different topic, different day. So, but right now I'm not a playoff team, and that's okay. Now I know those guys in the locker room think they are, and if we make the playoffs this year, shit, I'll be ecstatic. I'll be excited. Gonna be NRG rocking that bitch, but I don't think we are this year.
So one of the things I'll say to answer that question is, if we had a serviceable run game, we would be a playoff team. I think that's the challenge. I don't know if you or anyone else that's watching were up late last night and like an insomniac like myself and watched that NFL films they had about the Houston Oilers. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because one of the issues is they actually use the run and shoot offense. And that means that you throw a lot. You're throwing 40, 50 times a game. You're not relying on the run at all. You're a pass first offense and you run. Then they brought in Buddy because their defense was bad, right? And one of the things that Buddy said is that offense is an issue. You put your defense in bad spots, and that's the reason why you could put up numbers that look like you're on Madden, but the reason why you don't win playoff games is because you can't control the clock without having a run game. You are forcing your quarterback to throw even when you're up, which means you now are having these dudes that can get turnovers, right? You now they're pitting their ears back and try to sack you into big things. But the other issue says turnovers. That's what they're going to focus on. They'll give you the underneath stuff at that point and just try to get turnovers. And that's what happened against the Houston Oilers against the Bills, right? Like all that, they passed so much. They were up 30 some odd points. And then the Bills came back because it started with a turnover.
And
that's
the backup quarterback.
I'm sorry?
I said with the backup quarterback and came back.
Right. And so this is the problem is that if you can't run the ball, then you have to give the ball back to your opponent. Because the way that you run off the clock is by running the ball. It's why I'm such a big proponent of it. Like I know that a lot of people don't understand why I just don't want to pass the ball. It's because you can do great for a while. And I know that CJ Stroud, amazing quarterback, throwing more yards than any other rookie in NFL history. Amazing. But the bottom line is that if you can't run the ball and you can't control the clock, when it comes to playoff games, you will lose because those playoff games are determined on once you're up, you've got to bleed the clock out. How else can you bleed the clock out without a run game? You can't. And so that's why I think the biggest issue on our squad is not wide receiver. The biggest issue, although I think one of the biggest issues is defensive tackle. It's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue is not having the correct run blockers on our offensive line. We have spent the most money on the offensive line, and we have to make some changes, whether that's letting Titus go, trading him, or what. If we can't get the line to run block, none of this is going to matter long term.
Yeah, that's true. Luckily that we want to play one team, I think the Jets outside this year where the weather could be a factor. But, yeah, we definitely got to address that in the off season, man. Like on the run plays, can you put the good run blocking guys out in there on the run plays and on the pass plays, put the good guys out there, or that'd be doing too much?
Yeah, I mean, the O-line, obviously, you have to keep all 5 guys consistent. I mean, so that's not really the issue because the thing is, it's not like we have good run blocking guys and we have good pass blocking guys, right? We don't have any good run blocking guys. There isn't a dude on this team that can run block. The best run blocker, believe it or not, that's healthy is Shaq Mason, and even he is above average, but he's not great. Right. So when you have when your best run blocker is just above average and not great, what does that tell you about the rest of everyone else that's on your squad? I mean, it's a problem. And so I think that what you're going to have to do is your left guard, your center positions. Hopefully Scruggs comes back because I think he'll be a good run blocker. But you're going to have to figure out that left guard position. I think you've already extended your right guard, and because he's a good enough run blocker, I think you keep him. But I think at this point, you just get rid of Titus. If you're going to keep him at left guard, he's useless to us. If you're going to put him at right tackle, do so. But if you're going to keep him at left guard, I see no use for him whatsoever.
If you get rid of Titus, how would that make Tunsil feel?
I mean, I don't think that changes Tunsil at all.
I mean,
I
because
don't
I
think
mean
it cares.
they're really close. I mean, they're really close. So
I
I
mean,
think
I don't think Tunsil's going to cry about it more than 30 seconds. I mean,
man,
I mean, I understand that they're close, but they're teammates close, meaning that when Titus is gone, I don't think Tunsil's going to miss him very much. Um, I mean, and you could be close to someone personally, but realize that they suck at their job. And at left guard, he sucks at his job. You know, they might tweet at each other, and Instagram each other here and there, but there's no way that you could tell me that Tunsil doesn't understand that Titus is bad at left guard. And that if Fant is at right tackle and he's doing a good enough job at right tackle where you're not really missing Titus, there's no reason to pay him $18.5 million. I think that you trade him and you give him an opportunity to play at right tackle, left tackle somewhere else. And if you get a second round, pick, use that pick and you try to get either receiver or defensive tackle with it. Because at this point, there's literally no reason why he should be here for what he does and how much we're paying him.
and the reason why they can't bench him because they need that film out there to potential trade him, right?
I mean, I think that honestly, they could bench him, but I think that it would hurt a lot of things. It would be like basically it would basically seem like they made stupid decisions. So, I mean,
They
like think
did.
about it, right? I mean, they did, but they have to not show that they made a stupid decision.
We see
Um,
it.
I mean, what I don't understand is why didn't they try to do that in the trade deadline, right? Like I understand they want some consistency. They got a rookie quarterback, and I get it, but it's not like, I mean, at that point, tackles are going for a decent amount. We could have squeezed someone and got a second and a fourth, and squeezed someone and really fleeced them a little bit because tackles are important, even with the film that he has out at all left guard. Because last year he had a phenomenal year. So I mean, that's one. I'm not going to badmouth Nick Casario too much because he has done a good job, but this is one of the things where he doesn't necessarily do great on trades. Like the Watson trade is his best trade. He didn't do very good on the Cooks trade, the Brandon Cooks trade. We only got a fifth round pick, out of that. And I think this is one of the areas where he could have done better. But that's how I feel about Titus because I do think that there is a way that we can make the playoffs. I don't know if we could go further in the playoffs, but I think there is actually a way we can make the playoffs. I understand what you're saying. We're gonna listen. We're gonna have to play the Browns. We're gonna have to play the Jets, and we're gonna have to play the Bengals. I get it, but when you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud, it's honestly possible to win those games, right? The issue is since we can't run the ball, how do you make sure that they can start respecting the run? That is the question because you can't run the ball. So if they're just going to cover every guy, like if you look what the Falcons didn't respect the run. They put 8 dudes in coverage and only sent 3 guys because they knew that CJ Stroud was a better passer and we didn't have a run at all. And that is what other teams have done. Teams simply don't even have 4 guys rushing; they have 3 because they're just want to put everyone back in coverage and make sure that Stroud can't throw. And if you look at that one that he extended for I don't know, I'm going to say 5 minutes, but he extended it for fucking God knows ever because they were covering like crazy. And so that is going to be Slowick's challenge is how to get guys open when they don't care about the run. And that is the biggest challenge. And I think that is going to have to come up with pure athleticism. Tank Dell's athleticism. They're already using him in motion, and I think they're going to have to rely on these dudes on athleticism of these. Use Nico Collins' big body to be able to get open. Pause. And I think you do things like that in order to win because if they can't figure out how to solve right now, which I don't know if they can, if they can't find a way to solve this left guard and center position so they can run block up the gut, this is the biggest challenge I think they face.
Man, it's crazy that we still talking about the offensive line solving. The offensive line been a problem, shit, 3 4 years now, man, and we thought that we solidified it with these guys, but we still having an issue, and then we got to either use a draft pick or free agency. You never know to still work that position out. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
And
any
in
sense.
all honesty, we constructed our O line in a poor fashion. I think that we did the right thing to get Tunsil. I think that pretty much just about every other decision on that line was not thought out properly. Um, but what we could do now is let me answer some of these questions here. So first, Cecil, can Titus improve? Titus can't improve. He's been playing for. He's played left guard before and hasn't played well. His run blocking ability just isn't there. He doesn't have the effort. And at right tackle, you're not asked to pull. At left guard, you are asked to pull. And so even though he considers some athletic, he looks like he's just lazy. And so there's no improving when you don't have the effort. And that's like if you go ahead and watch all 22, like click it on, watch with a bunch of friends, get a beer and start looking at what the hell is going on. You will be pissed the hell off with the lack of effort that Titus Howard provides when he's at left guard. He doesn't want to be a left guard. It's clearly, blatantly clear when you watch the film. Daniel Jaguar says an RB who can catch is also a very good person to get. I agree. Get an RB who can catch into traffic. Blake Corum is my pick. He's from Michigan. I'm a Michigan fan, so I am biased. But, I mean, he leads in touchdown. He's got like 18 already this year. He could catch I think he has like 6 or 7, 18 rushing touchdowns. He's like 6 or 7 receiving touchdowns. The dude's a beast both in the receiving game and the run game. He can block. I mean, he's right now he's projected to go in the second round in the 40 to 50s. I think he's going to fall to maybe the 50s, 60s. And then Daniel also says we can open up the passing game at moments when you can rush up the middle. Yeah, I mean, that's what some people are saying, right? Like, use the pass game to open up the run game. The problem is that that's not the issue. Last game, they only had 8 men in the box once. So it's not the fact that they are just stacking the box. The fact is that they're not stacking the box, and they still can't get yardage because the line ain't blocking. If the O-line needs help, play 2 or 3 tight ends who can block them. That takes pressure off the run blockers. We've tried that. We've put first of all, we don't have that many tight ends healthy right now. We only have Dalton Schultz, and we added a new guy, some nobody. Brevin Jordan is hurt. TQ is hurt. So we don't have the personnel to do that from a tight end perspective. Our tight ends are hurt, but we have tried it in the past, and those tight ends don't help on the outside runs, but they're not going to help on the inside runs, right? They can only help on the outside. Cruncher, what do you have to add to any of those questions?
Yeah, like you say, we don't have the personnel to do that. I don't like those in and around plays from the get go. So right now we're just gonna have our growing pains for the rest of the year and figure all this shit out that we know they need to get fixed in the off season. So right now it is what it is.
Well, on that note, before we say goodbyes, I wanted to simply let everyone know. I'll bring you back in 1 second, Crenshaw. About our sponsor. Our sponsor is Tomorrow's Retro. This episode is sponsored by Tomorrow's Retro, made by diehard fans, giving you all the Texan gear, pride you deserve, a retro look, Tomorrow's Superstars. Get the best looking merch for your Houston Texans. Use code TFB10 for 10% off store-wide at tomorrowsretro.myshopify.com. That's tomorrowsretro.myshopify.com. Guys, check out their shirts. They're really cool. Crenshaw, any last words to everyone that's watching?
We got a quarterback. We knew we had one, but we really have a quarterback right now. So that's my last words right there. And you can find me at Fifth Ward Crenshaw everywhere. I'm somewhere talking shit to somebody.
Guys, you can find me at Brown Chubby Bear. I am on Spaces a lot. Usually it's me and Leo that are on Spaces. So if you aren't familiar with Twitter Spaces, go on Twitter and follow me at Brown Chubby Bear. And when I go live, you'll see a notification and we can talk some Texans football. You can also follow the Texans Fan Battle podcast on every single audio platform and on YouTube. So check out our YouTube channel and check us out on every single audio platform. It's great when you can't watch us and you just want to listen to us when you drive. We will be live again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central. We're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central on YouTube, and we publish the audio podcast the morning after. Guys, this has been a great episode. I'm so happy that we won. CJ Stroud is just an amazing quarterback. It's great to have one. And on that note, Go Texans, and let's beat the hell out of the Bengals next week.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.